But as in all Disney movies, she is going to get herself out of the immediate danger situation herself.
Yes, of course.
So if anybody from Disney is listening to this, hit us up. We got some ideas.
Hello, and welcome to the Tabletop Travel Guide, the podcast where we explore fictional worlds and civilizations right from the comfort of our own table. I'm Ryan, and this week in our campaign, I fired a warning shot straight into the cultist's chest. No
Less
questions
of a
asked.
warning, more of a aggressive move.
Well, I said warning shot before I fired.
Yeah,
so
as long as you say warning shot, it still counts.
that's what I thought.
Yeah. And I'm Tyler, and this week I finally caught up giving experience to my Monday group. After they leveled up to 5, they went through 4 sessions, and every time I just kept forgetting to give them experience. So I just gave them a bulk send of like 400 experience.
Perfect.
And I'm Sam, and this week in sessions, I came up with a whole festival and parade scenario on the fly.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Surprise, Tyler, that was not planned, but I was inspired by the characters and their journey.
I like it. I like a good improv.
Nice
It
work.
was a good sesh.
Nice work. All right. So last week, I think I did okay.
Yeah.
I had lots of help from our co-hosts, but we have a couple things we misspoke. So I kept saying Sageborn, and it should have been Sabiorn.
Yeah, we
right?
That's our best guess anyway.
Yeah, I think we mixed up we thought the J was in the front and it wasn't. We just looked wrong.
Again, those names were hard. Sabiorn.
Sabiorn Armfang.
Sabiorn Armfang.
Yeah.
And then the other one was, we didn't really prep that part, but I think Tyler and I landed on Impending Doom as the spell that causes it's like a natural disaster.
But it's actually Inevitable Disaster.
Inevitable disaster.
Yeah, which, look that spell up. It's a lot of fun.
It's great. It's one of my favorite spells.
Yes.
And with that, then, I think we're going to go back to Sam. And we talked previously last week. We're going to talk a little bit about Irrisen.
Yes, I'm very excited to go to Irrisen today. A little bit of a disclaimer about Irrisen. This particular section of Golarion pulls from a lot of real-life source material, like real-world Earth,
Like
where
Earth.
real life.
Where we are.
So we're going to go back and forth a little bit. I'm going to try to give some actual history as well as the Pathfinder history.
Okay.
But essentially, Irrisen is built off of a lot of things from Russian history. So I do just encourage everybody that's listening, if you hear things that are interesting, please go look up and read about the real things about it too. I think when we're pulling from real life source material, it's really important to honor that source material and, respect the culture by actually learning about the culture.
Yeah.
So that would be like my push. If anything's cool, please go read more about it, but I will do my best to lead us through it.
Do you have any recommendations for material?
I would recommend going to your local library.
Oh, the library.
And seeing what they can find for you. There's just lots of things that you can read and look at depending on what you find interesting.
Okay.
Sure, you can find a bunch on Wikipedia or something.
Yeah. So you can get high level stuff from Wikipedia, but if there's things that you're really interested in, there's tons of books. It's a huge country with a lot of history.
Cool.
So with that, we are going to dive into Irrisen. And Irrisen is known as the land of eternal winter.
Pass.
And that's your ranking, folks.
I like winter for a short amount.
I like winter.
Yeah. It's fine. I'd rather just be inside. If it's all the time.
Tyler just does not understand how cute you can look in a fur-lined coat. Fake fur, but,
Sure. Okay.
There's a lot of cute accessories for winter. Ooh, I want a sweater. Anyway, so everyone put on your cute sweaters. We're going to the land of eternal winter. But before we arrive there, it is not actually winter yet. We are going to start when Irrisen is pre-eternal winter.
See, it's not eternal winter. You're
Okay,
fine.
cool.
We're fine.
So I'm good for a while.
Have to be eternal winter.
Chooses to be.
So to talk about Irrisen and how we get to be called the Land of Eternal Winter, first we have to talk about who Baba Yaga is. So this is going to be one of those things where Baba Yaga is a real-life historical figure in Slavic folklore.
Okay.
Again, tons of literary material on Baba Yaga. She tends to show up in two different ways in folklore, either as eating children or helping the hero.
Perfect.
So, okay.
It's a gamble.
Cool.
Which Baba Yaga do you get?
Okay.
Yeah, so from like that kind of like mythology, children's stories, she comes up in a lot of places to teach lessons. Whether it's, I'm teaching a lesson through, hey, don't be a kid running through the woods, or, it's a lesson to, hey, I'm helping you in learning
Sure.
something.
Stranger danger. Baba Yaga will eat you.
Yes.
Also, listen to your local librarian.
She's more like an old lady in the woods.
Okay.
So respect your elders.
I feel like Baba Yaga teaching lessons also tracks with everybody calling John Wick in the John Wick movies Baba Yaga.
Yeah, okay.
Teaching you a lesson.
Sure.
By murdering you.
So that's the mythology. So again, one of those like little tidbits. If you think it's interesting, please go read more. There's tons out there about her. In Pathfinder lore, though, she is known as the Queen of the Witches.
Okay.
She can be a patron for characters in the witch class, and she's a level 20 foe if you were to have to face her.
So epic.
Yes.
Yeah, so she don't mess around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's not quite like deity, but she's really far up there.
Fair.
Cool.
And she has this artifact called the Dancing Hut.
Okay.
Mechanically, it's a major artifact that allows travel between all of the material planes.
Okay.
This, quick switch back to real life, is based off of, in mythology, Baba Yaga lives in a hut in the forest that stands on chicken legs.
I feel like I've seen that before.
I've seen that tons of places.
Yeah.
I feel like that. Like I just have a very visual picture of it, and it's just from a bunch of different things.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that like weird broken down shack on legs.
Yes, so it is an actual artifact in Pathfinder. We're going to talk a little bit more about it later, but like those are going to be the really important things as we talk about Irrisen.
Okay.
Baba Yaga and a dancing hut.
Okay, cool.
My
There's
two
your
favorite
primer.
things.
So, back to Golarion. We are in the land of the Lenorm Kings.
Woo!
Hey.
In 3298. And at this point, this territory belongs to a Lenorm king. So we're in the land of Reymurund in 3298, and he dies. He is succeeded by his son, Yargut, maybe?
I think
Yargut
I think
seems
Yargut?
right.
Yeah.
So Yargut inherits the kingdom, but he did not slay a Lenorm,
That's not okay.
as is tradition.
We can't.
We
stand
learned that
that
last episode. That is not okay.
So, like, somehow they let him, like, continue to rule, but, like, they're not happy about it, okay? We're just, like, waiting for some other dude to go out here and kill a Lenorm.
The Lenorm King pro tempore.
Yes. So he trucks along as wimpy king until 3312. And this is when the Northern Lights flare. And Ryan touched on this briefly in the Lenorm Kings, but what is happening here is they are flaring, and it is a herald of Baba Yaga.
Oh.
Good.
And in 3313, the Winter Wars starts, and Baba Yaga shows up and invades the land of Reymurund with an army of frost giants, trolls, winter wolves, and icy fae minions.
So she just like poofed into existence?
So no. Baba Yaga has a very, very long history and has been in a lot of different planes and a lot of different places.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because you said her dancing hut goes different planes.
Yes.
Cool.
So, and this is not the first time that she's been on Golarion. She's been on Golarion before, but we would have to do a whole episode on Baba Yaga herself to go through that whole history.
fair.
So she's like, I remember a nice summer place. Like, let's go mess that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just going to start with Baba Yaga popping into what will become Irrisen.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
So she rolls up with her army, her dancing hut, and she wrecks Reymurund in 6 days.
Oh, dang.
Oh man.
Like, they done.
Yargut.
Well, it's
Or-
the Kingdom
it's
of
the Kingdom of
Raymarund.
Raymarund.
Yargut is the...
That's why you
The
need an
current
actual
leader.
king.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what happens.
It would have been Yargut if he would have killed his own Lenorm.
So she decimates them.
Dang.
The territory to the south of Raymarund, the Dgistor
So good luck.
Confederacy.
It's just Jurstor.
The
I feel like D is
Jurstor.
silent.
Okay, a silent D, sure. The Jurstor Confederacy, they resist her for 17 more days.
Okay.
Dang.
And then they too fall to her army. And these two fallen kingdoms become hers. And through magical means, she makes them into a land of eternal winter.
Dang, can you
Bummer.
Can you just imagine like 23 days just like goes from everything's normal to this is now a new country.
I literally live in the place where hell froze over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. So hilariously, post-conquering, Baba Yaga loses interest. She's like, well, that was cool, but what else am I going to do now? Okay.
This is boring. I'm bored now.
My people need me somewhere else.
So instead, she leaves the land to her eldest daughter, Jadwiga, who establishes Irrisen as it's known today.
I think it's Jadwiga.
Jadwiga? Oh gosh, the J's. Queen Jadwiga.
Okay.
All right. So she is going to then take this land that her mother turned into a wintry forest, whatever. She splits it into 4 provinces: Bleachmark, Horwood, Thronewood, and Wintercrux.
Oh.
And then she directs the construction of new cities to serve as the capitals of these provinces. Those are all built by the conquered and enslaved Ulfin inhabitants.
I do want to do a quick point out that Horwood is spelled Hoarwood. Just to be clear.
Yes, it's like hoarfrost.
Yes.
I don't know what that is. What's hoarfrost?
It is a grayish-white crystalline deposit of frozen water vapor formed in clear, still weather on vegetation, fences, etc.
Huh.
There you
Okay,
go.
now I know.
I was like, I know what it is, but I don't know how to describe it, so I had to look up the definition.
You like Sam gesticulates it into thin air of like,
It's
Obvious.
the icy
Hoarfrost.
stuff on stuff in the winter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh. Huh.
We'll put a
Also
picture of that.
spelled Hoar.
So it's all cold themed. Okay.
Look,
Yes.
if I was listening to this, I would be confused by the name Horwood.
So anyway, back to our enslaved and conquered Ulfins
Yes.
in this poor winterland. Jadwiga also gives her most trusted daughters leadership over the provinces and the title of Duchess. She also then creates a 5th province, which is given to the Fae, because they helped Baba Yaga in the Winter's War.
Sure.
And that land is then called the Fae Frost.
Okay.
You got to pay out. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help
Right. So she is constructing what Irrisen becomes and what landscape is currently there as far as provinces and cities and things that we're going to have moving forward. So the supernatural winter that's now the norm here is going to change the society. It's going to change what was previously built up by the Lenorm kings because travel's now limited, there's no game to hunt, and there's no way to grow crops. So commerce turns to bodies of water. The towns on the river and the glacier lake are able to survive on like fishing and trade, essentially.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
So we've really like changed the whole landscape of
Sure.
this area. So for the next century, Jadwiga rules. And she attempts to expand borders, but the Lenorm kings and the Mammoth lords are like, nope, sorry, lady, stick to your winter. So it stays
Stay in your
in the
lane.
same territories. But then, 100 years after Baba Yaga showed up the first time, she comes back.
I love it.
Possibly she's disappointed by Jadwiga's lack of country expansion. It's not really explicitly stated anywhere, but she then disposes of Jadwiga.
Oh.
She takes Jadwiga and that first generation of her offspring from Golarion, and at this point their fate is unknown.
Oh.
She then replaces her with Jadwiga's sister, Morganon, as queen instead.
Huh.
So essentially, Jadwiga was queen and had her daughters, so Baba Yaga's grandchildren. Baba Yaga comes back and she's like, nope, pulling all y'all out. And then Baba Yaga takes a different daughter of her own, Morganon, and then Morganon is now queen. Morgannon pushes out anyone else who's related to Yguita's daughters from leadership and puts in her own. And so then this starts a pattern of every 100 years, Baba Yaga comes back to crown a new queen from her own lineage.
Oh my gosh. That's exhausting.
Right?
Man.
That's brutal.
It is. So the legacy, though, of Yguita is that descendants of Baba Yaga are now known as Yguita, and female Yguita rule Irrisen while male Yguita run the armies.
Huh.
And that's now like what we're calling this like race of people.
Oh, okay. So they're not Irrisini or anything. They're Yguita.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Uh-huh.
Huh. Okay.
Man, so I guess do the queens make it the whole 100 years? Or like, is there, if you make it in like the first year, you're like, I gotta die before 100 years are up?
No, so this pattern continues for 1,400 years.
Oh my gosh.
So every 100 years, she comes back and she pops in a new queen.
What ancestry are that they live that long?
Witches?
Yeah,
I don't know. There's some.
They're all magically.
So they're using magic to like
Yeah.
extend their life. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's my assumption is that it's all magic.
With everything happening here, Tyler's like, how do people live 100 years?
Like in a world that is very normal to have ancestries that live that long. I'm like, but how? How does one live that? Chicken huts, witches, it's fine. But how do live life? It's fine. I'm fine.
And those people are also known as the Winter Witches too.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Is where that title comes from as well. So this continues. This is where we are going to shift into talking about Reign of Winter, which is a Pathfinder 1 adventure path. However, this whole adventure path shapes what modern Irrisen looks like. So we're going to have to talk about the adventure path in a lot more detail than we normally do.
We'll just send it, yeah.
Right? So a spoiler, I guess, if you think you still want to play this PF1 adventure path. It came out in 2013, so I think, it's been 10 years. We can talk about it.
Statute of limitations on talking about it.
So where we are in history, where this picks up, we are at the time of the 14th ruler of Irrisen, Queen Elvana. So we're approaching 4713, which are when her 100 years would be up.
Okay.
So leading up to this date, Elvana doesn't trust that all of her sisters have been removed to some better place.
That's a reasonable, yeah.
Right? She spends decades trying to figure out what happens after a queen is removed from the throne. She can't find traces of her sisters anywhere, not in any other plane or realm or dimension.
Okay. That would be scary. Yeah.
Yes. So spoiler, and what comes out in this adventure path, what's actually happening, Baba Yaga sacrifices them to fuel her power.
Oh.
Oof.
She drains their vitality and stores their undead husks inside the dancing hut.
Nice.
Metal.
Right?
Nice.
I mean, it's a power move. So Elvana is like, well, I can't find them. I don't know what's happening. This probably is not good for me. She decides to overthrow her mother, Baba Yaga, and end the 100-year queen recycling situation.
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm surprised it took 14 tries to, or 14 generations
honestly,
of queens for people
I have
to be
the
like,
same question.
This seems suspect.
Right? It was around I believe it was like the 4th or the 5th queen that started like giving the line of like, oh yes, you go on to a much better place. And I don't know if people like believed that for a while,
Sure.
or just thought like, oh sure, they're chilling in some other plane because that happens.
Yeah, it's 100 years from now. I'll figure it out then.
Right.
I'm gonna forget about it.
So anyway, Elvana, how do I overthrow my mom? She's going to employ the help of her half-brother, Grigory Rasputin.
Wait.
Yes, it's that Rasputin.
Go on.
We'll get there. Okay.
Go on. I'm in. I'm interested.
We'll talk about him in a second. Okay. Her plan is to trap Baba Yaga on Baba Yaga's homeworld, which is Earth.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't put that
Earth.
Don't put that evil on us.
Well, you know what? That's fair. Rude, Elvana. We understand not wanting to be like popped into some other dimension by your mom, but like not cool. So they succeed in trapping Baba Yaga. But of course, she has some contingency plans. Essentially, she leaves behind clues to get the keys to the dancing hut. So her followers can then free her from wherever she
I
is.
left my spare key with your aunt. Please go get it.
It's under the third rock.
But yes, that's what happens, right? So Ivana's like, cool. I locked up my mom. Now I'm going to spread supernatural winter all over Golarion.
Wait, why?
What?
Wait, why? Because she doesn't want anyone to find the keys? Is that her plan?
No, she's just like, now I want to rule the whole world.
Okay,
Oh,
come
okay.
on.
Yeah. Stay in your lane.
We got a little power hungry here.
Look,
You trap one extra planar demigod, and you're like, look, I deserve this planet now.
this.
Got
Chill
too
out.
big for her britches.
Get a Snickers.
Treat yourself.
Okay, so all of that, though, is just the setup for the adventure path.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my gosh.
That's not even the adventure path.
We haven't even gotten there yet.
Okay, so we're gonna pop back to the real world for a second. Pop back to Rasputin, because I dropped that bomb, and now we're gonna talk about what is happening.
I'm giddy right now. This is great.
So, Reign of Winter ties events in Golarions to an actual timeline of events on Earth, specifically World War I and the Bolshevik Revolution,
Oh my gosh.
through Pathfinder's lens, so through the canon that they have created. Grigory Rasputin is the son of Baba Yaga, who she abandoned on Earth.
Of course.
Of
Why
course.
not?
So let's talk about who Rasputin was in real life for a minute, so that we have that frame of reference
He
here.
was a cool dude.
So Rasputin was a mystic who was a healer for the Russian royal family, in particular Tsar Nicholas's hemophiliac son, the Tsarevich Alexei. Rasputin ends up murdered in 1916 by a group of nobles that thought he had too much influence over the Tsarina. An account of this says that they first tried to poison him with tea cakes, and when that did not take, they offered him wine, which was also poisoned, and he drank 3 glasses. And then they shot him 3 times, wouldn't stay dead, and then dumped him into a river. It was very cold. It was December. So these accounts add to his supernatural aura in real history.
Mhm.
However, an autopsy shows there's actually no sign of poison or drowning, just a single close-range gunshot. But he takes on like a mythological quality in our real history already.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think that like feeds into how he becomes inspiration and part of
Well, I feel
this
like
story.
I mean, even in other fictional things, Rasputin, I feel like it's shown up before as well.
Mhm.
It's just kind of that immortal,
Weird
undead
mystic,
guy. Yeah.
weird dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Oh my gosh.
the real backstory.
Okay.
Back to Pathfinder.
Back to Pathfinder.
In the Pathfinder canon, Rasputin fakes his death.
Mm.
Ah,
So yes, they keep with the yes, he was murdered, but that was his plan. He wasn't really murdered. He has been receiving visions for a long time from his half-sister, Elvana, of a world far away, filled with magic. And this is how he becomes that mystic healer on Earth. Elvana ends up making a deal with Rasputin for shared power if he helps her trap Baba Yaga.
Ah, okay.
Naturally, as he is researching ways to imprison Baba Yaga, he turns to the research of Nikola Tesla,
Oh my gosh.
also a real person.
Oh my gosh.
Ryan, would you like to give a short summary of who Nikola Tesla was in
I
real
mean,
life?
Scientist, engineer, general madman, lightning, electricity.
Invented alternating current is kind of a mythological being in its own right.
Yeah, he and Edison didn't really get along, had different ideas on stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Perfect. So we're taking another real life person when we're putting them into this adventure path. So in Pathfinder, Tesla has blueprints for machines that would wreck the veil between worlds.
Sure. That actually checks out for something that Tesla would make.
Yeah.
Right? You know, electric current, wrecking veils. Excellent.
Yeah.
So this is something that Rasputin thinks he can use to trap Baba Yaga.
Okay.
Rasputin builds a base out of a prison camp in Siberia. We are still on Earth.
Oh my gosh.
Employs an exiled engineer, and together they build Tesla's world engine and associated world anchors, which will allow him to trap Baba Yaga in kind of this like parallel dimension type situation.
This is amazing.
They've got her like secured, but now they're like, we got to put her away forever. So he contacts Baba Yaga like, "Sup, Mom, want to get some tea?" She thought he was dead, but she still agrees to come see him. She does. She ends up imprisoned by this mix of magic and machine in Siberia.
Wonderful.
I thought you were dead, but sure, I'll get some tea.
So
I don't know.
have we started the adventure path?
So this is not stuff that the adventurers are directly involved in.
It's just kind of happening.
Yeah,
Okay.
they get pulled in because of Elvana's like threat of pushing out winter and some of the things that she tries to do. They are not actually in Irrisen when the adventure path starts. They're in one of the neighboring. I think they're actually in Taldor, I think, where they start.
I feel like most adventure paths are kind of that way, where the players obviously start usually at level 1, so they're like doing other adventure-y things while like big picture stuff is happening that the GM knows that kind of culminates.
Yeah, and they
so
kind
you
of
might get hints of stuff here and there, but you're not going to be. You can be in the adventure, but not privy to what's happening.
Okay.
But
cool.
so where we pick up our adventurers, though, is right here. So the actual adventure part that feeds into this is the party from Golarion is on a quest to stop Elvana, and they are trying to free Baba Yaga to do it.
Our hero, Baba Yaga.
They're like, well, if anyone can remove this lady from power, it's the lady that removes everybody from power.
I mean, yeah, that's enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of logic. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously we know that Baba Yaga only cares about this one little place every 100 years, so...
Yeah.
So that party, through like a whole chapter of an adventure path that I'm not going to get into, they find the keys to the dancing hut, essentially.
Ooh, nice.
So they use the dancing hut and end up in Siberia.
Perfect.
At this retrofitted prison camp that Rasputin is using as headquarters. Again, lots of things happen. This is where we get into, like, the party shows up and it's like World War I.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of fight mechanics with World War I infantry, and they're fighting Russian soldiers.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, it's a whole thing.
Ryan's like, I need to play this
This is
now.
incredible. I need to go back and read this now.
This was the part where I was like, oh, Ryan would really like to play this.
Oh my gosh.
So they have to navigate all of that in Siberia. And then while exploring this prison camp, they find Grand Duchess Anastasia.
Stop. Stop. That's awesome.
I feel like reading this, I was just like, this is just getting like just all over the place.
Anastasia.
I'm really enjoying it, but it's all over the place.
This is what I'm here for, though. Just like completely bonkers. Like my favorite game growing up was Red Alert and Red Alert 2. We're like, yeah, just alternate history, pull random historical figures. Let's go. I'm so into it.
Okay, so we're going to do a brief real history of Anastasia here. So as we all know from the 1997 children's movie, Anastasia is the youngest daughter of the Tsar of Russia. Unlike the movie, though, the real history is a lot more tragic. So Anastasia and her whole family end up murdered. There's so much speculation about her survival, though, because the family was presumed murdered in 1917 after being held captive, but there weren't bodies found at the time. So that's where we get this like idea that like, oh, what if someone survived?
Sure.
A firsthand account of what happened to them actually wasn't found until 1989. So that account, though, states that the entire family was horrifically murdered by a combination of firing squad and bayonets.
And it was like in a basement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really,
like,
really brutal.
in the house that they were kept in.
Yeah.
Not great.
So again, it's a lot of really big, like, real world themes there. And I would encourage people to read and learn about that. It's a whole time period and there's so much political stuff in there that I'm not going to dive into. But that is who we are talking about. So back to Pathfinder. In the adventure path, it's revealed that Anastasia was brought back to life using the resurrection spell.
Let's go.
Oh man. So
she still dies the same way.
Oh my gosh.
But Rasputin brings her back via resurrection. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would he want to do that?
I'm asking that question, Sam.
At this point in this story, I don't ask why of anything because it is wild.
I'm asking why. I'm in. Let's go.
Well, Ryan, then, because you're curious, in Pathfinder canon, Rasputin is Anastasia's real father.
What?
After he had an affair with the Tsarina.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so that timeline then is very different.
Yes.
Yeah,
so there
okay.
is zero historical basis for that.
Sure, okay.
So Rasputin in real history does not join up with the royal family until after all of her children have been born.
Yeah, but that's still very interesting.
That is how Pathfinder swoops that in. But why is that important to us in Pathfinder? Well, it's important because then that makes Anastasia Baba Yaga's granddaughter. And she is now in the line of magic in succession.
Okay.
I know, guys, it's just all over. Okay, so the adventurers defeat Rasputin. Woo!
Yay.
Nice.
They get a hold of the prison Baba Yaga is being held in.
Nice.
She's trapped inside of a Russian doll. Sure. In this like other plane. They
On
have to
brand.
like use
Perfect.
the world anvils and the world machine to like pull that like other plane of existence like down to earth to get her out. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
But yay, they freed her. So in the adventure path, the adventurers have a choice. They can request to be crowned queen by Baba Yaga or have someone else put forward instead. The canon story for like wider Pathfinder is that Anastasia is then crowned the next queen of
Okay.
Irrisen.
Okay. I'm just
Right?
like, I feel like the it's interesting to have a adventure where like the end result is the status quo, right? Because it's like, I assume the ticking time, like it's back to the ticking time bomb of 100
Well, so
years
we
later.
don't know.
I was to say, yeah,
Okay.
I don't think that it necessarily, because I'm sure a lot happens that, I guess I don't know how self-reflective Baba Yaga is, but
Yeah, so in the adventure path, there's like also some stuff in there where like she basically grants the party like, what do you want? Like, do you want a
Yeah.
reward? So some of the mechanics in there are like, if the party asks her to leave Golarion forever, she says okay.
interesting.
If
Okay.
they like ask for items, then she'll give them magical items. If you're a spellcaster and you ask for special spells, then you'll get special spells.
Okay.
So because there's so much fluidity with what like the party can then ask for as their reward, I'm not 100% sure how that then ties into like further
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
canon. But that brings us to present day Irrisen, where Anastasia is queen. The common people like her. She's improved their lives. Cool.
Okay.
However, many of the noble class, though, they view her as a fraud because she's not a daughter of
Oh,
Baba Yaga,
okay.
and she was put up
Semantics.
because some adventurers interfered.
She didn't kill her own Lenorm.
Yo, I want that art of Anastasia
Murdering a Lenorm.
going one-on-one with a Lenorm.
And then it's not clear if Baba Yaga is going to return
Right.
in 100 years or not. And Irrisen is still under eternal winter for now.
Okay.
So there are some mechanics that could reverse the magic that Baba Yaga put on the area. One of the options post Reign of Winter is to get mythic levels for characters, and then
yeah.
they can do things to influence to try to reverse the eternal winter.
Okay.
However, per like Paizo and Pathfinder right now, Irrisen is still Land of Eternal Winter, so I'm curious to see if they'll return here
Yeah.
and have a PF2 adventure path that maybe does do something with
They
the Eternal
have
Winter.
to. There's too much other weird real-world stuff that they could be like, okay, so then World War II. Like,
But so if we're doing the 100 years thing, though, like Anastasia's crowned in 4713. So we're only 10 years into her 100 years. So we are not going to be alive when they revisit this adventure path.
yeah.
When
For 100
Paizo hits
years.
100 years,
I hope this podcast is still
Oh,
around.
but again, like,
pass it on to our
this
kids
is
and
where
our
like,
kids'
oh,
kids.
but Albert Einstein detected a rift in the time in the planar vortex.
So
and,
I mean,
I hope so.
well, I feel like there's obviously some time wonkiness anyway, since we know that.
oh, and New Thassalon, yeah.
I mean, there is that, but then you have like, we know the wonkiness, or like the 4723 is 2023 now, but obviously they go back to World War I time in 4713. So like, there's obviously some amount of time wonkiness there.
Time wiggliness,
Yeah, that could like influence future campaigns.
Oh, yes.
The other thing to note is that the adventurers do not get to take the actual major artifact, the dancing hut, but she will give them a minor dancing hut.
Well, good.
So
I would like a minor dancing hut. Just it kind of does a little jig.
you can maybe go some places, just not all the places.
It's like a lower trim level of a car. Like, I'm not going to give you the top of the line, but you know,
Yeah.
we'll give you the mid level.
You get the LT versus the LTS. look at that chicken's rims.
And that's Irrisen.
This has been.
Woo!
I knew the like fact that Anastasia was there, but I did not know the rest of the story. I love this.
This is amazing.
This is great.
I love this
I had a
story.
lot of fun reading about it and also trying to figure out how I was going to explain it. So hopefully when we all listen to this back, it makes sense. But, you
think it'll
know,
be
if
okay.
it doesn't, read a book. There's lots of them.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sam. I'm very excited to actually read this now. And with that, I think we'll take a quick break and then we will return with our characters and campaigns.
In a hurry to cross plains, your own dancing hut will take you there and back again. The latest model from Yonkka's Luxury Huts brings you a slick new design and an abundance of plane-shifting features that harness the latest magical breakthroughs to deliver you from Golarion to Earth in the blink of an eye. This vitality-powered hut runs entirely on the life essence of the youth, so it's an environmentally sustainable way of getting around. The dancing hut also comes equipped with cutting-edge essence tracking technology, so every qualified fuel source on and off plane is on your radar at all times. No more getting left behind. Run fast with the Dancing Hut. Plane shifting into market later this year.
Welcome back, and thank you to Yonkka's Luxury Huts for their wonderful sponsorship of this episode.
That's what we're going to be getting next time one of our cars dies.
I like it.
All right, so campaign. I did not know of all the crazy wonkiness.
How could you, Ryan? How could you?
So my expectations were maybe too low, but
No.
maybe I can import or put some more of the wonkiness into this idea as we go. So, having been going over the Lenorm Kings last week,
Yeah.
or last episode, I kind of thought about starting it there and saying, okay, one of the Lenorm Kings has a relative that's gone missing over in Irrisen for some reason.
Okay.
They say she's a sister or a cousin of a current female king. So like if it's a female king, it's a sister or a female cousin.
Okay. In one of the Lenorm.
Yes.
King.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like one of the female Lenorm kings that's currently
Okay.
there, like
Cool.
her cousin or whoever is off.
Okay.
Went missing in Irrisen for some reason.
Cool.
And the king is like, hello, you are now my party. You're going to go find my missing sister or cousin. The twist is that this is like a Queen Amidala Padme situation.
Oh.
Where the actual king or queen is the one over in Irrisen causing a
Oh.
ruckus, but the party's not told that kind of situation. And the campaign turns into like find the actual king or queen, even though they don't know that's who they're looking for yet.
Right.
And then once they like figure out where they are, I was going to have them like captured by the Irrisen government.
Ooh.
And the Irrisen government also doesn't know that they're the actual king or queen. So it's like we have this sibling or cousin of royalty. Maybe we can get something out of this. They don't know that they're actually like the king or the queen.
Oh, I like it.
And so it's like it's a shorter campaign probably, but you're going to like roll out, go into Irrisen, and the whole point would be you can't go loud. Like you can't go hot and just start slaying because that'll bring too much heat onto the whole situation. So you need to be stealthy, subterfuge, get in, find the person and get out. And I would definitely make some kind of MacGuffin that you can't teleport out.
I like it.
Yeah. So again, not very like timey-wimey back in World War I. Maybe she's being kept in that same prison that Anastasia
She got stuck in her own mini.
in the Russian doll prison.
Yeah. I mean, now knowing Anastasia might not be the most awful queen of the region too. I'm sure
You
there's a way to
could
swing it.
narrow it to province too.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
So rather than it being like necessarily like an affront to the whole government, like what if this rogue Lenorm queen sister like pops into the Fae part and the Fae are like
there
that'd
we
be
go.
good.
The
Okay.
Fae is a good
Rude.
connection.
I
Yes.
like that.
Yes. Breaking into the Fae's province. Yes.
Nice. The Feyfrost.
The Feyfrost. That's what we're doing. Breaking them out of the Feyfrost.
Nice. Okay, so I think my character will fit well in here then. So I have a human named Magnus Tanberg. He is a farmer and a hunter.
Okay.
So he's probably lawful neutral, and he's a ranger,
Okay.
and he's got an animal companion bear named Sven.
Oh my gosh, this
Magnus
is
and
now
Sven.
a Disney movie.
Yes. So
You guys sing musicals?
It is the guy and his bear off to rescue a princess in a country.
Yes.
It's a musical waiting to happen.
So that's going to be even more hilarious because he's like very old and curmudgeonly.
Oh no.
The boy and his bear.
So I imagine him as kind of the like Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon type, where he's like, I'm getting too old for this shit. Like he lives in Irrisen. I'll also, when researching what to do for this character, I didn't look at the history of Irrisen because I didn't want to spoil anything. So I just looked at what the inhabitants do, and they're basically like, it kind of sucks because it's eternal winter. So I imagine he like survives. He like has a farm. No like tragic backstory or anything. He just like tends to his farm, goes out hunting, chills with his bears, Sven, and like I think it would be, you talk about, I think how he'd tie into this campaign is like, if you have to go in quiet, he lives in Irrisen, and he's like, we know this guy who like lives in the woods, but he knows like the in and out of traveling quietly through stuff. And
yes.
So then the party, I imagine, would like meet up with him and then just like to infiltrate the Fey Frost. And he's just like, I know these parts. Why am I here? So
the reluctant hero.
I feel like he would obviously, start to feel some kindred or some kinship with maybe they're probably younger adventurers and like want to make sure they get out okay. To take that grandfatherly role. But if this was a musical, he'd be the one that says like, no singing, stop it.
Okay, so I am going to like switch around what character I think he is in the musical. He's gonna be more like Uncle Iroh, except I feel like Uncle Iroh would like singing, but he's the mentor.
Yes, he's like the kind of old.
Yes,
but he's way more pessimistic as a person than Uncle Iroh.
Can you come late to my session 0 or like come an hour late so everyone else is like planning and we get a little bit of exposition out of the way, and then it's like, look, your contact, you're gonna know a guy on the inside, and then you walk in the room with your character,
and then like encounter 1 is like you see a bear,
and
you go to fight the bear, and then before that, like you hear me, Sven, get back here.
friends, Sven, friends.
Sven, stop it. I know you want to play with them. Yeah, so I think that would be perfect to fit in as the, old person of the Irrisen of the land who helps the land of the Lenorm king people save the queen.
Or maybe not. I mean, the queen who's like out there might have, I didn't really figure out what he or she was doing. They could also be terrible. Like they could just be in there sowing discord. And it's like, we're going to go save this person. This is a terrible person.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel, I'm like, he probably wouldn't care about the specifics. He's like, getting paid to do something. This is just...
Okay, well, in the musical version of this, then she's definitely in the Fey Wood looking for some sort of magical object to solve a problem.
Of course, yeah.
Like, someone is dying back in the home country.
Yes.
She has to marry someone she doesn't want, whatever. We're here for the Fey magic. So then she gets tangled up into something, and then the Fey are like, oh, nope, we're gonna capture you. But then the party shows up and they help, but as in all Disney movies, she is going to get herself out of the immediate danger situation herself.
Yes, of course.
So if anybody from Disney is listening to this, hit us up. We got some ideas.
No, we want Pathfinder to know that we are willing to write the first Pathfinder musical.
They're like the people who are thinking up this musical are just as crazy as the people who thought up Reign of Winter. So we're in.
Look, we'll write a supplement that's called Pathfinder Disney Rules, where it just changes the core systems to have more Disney friendly rules. This can work great.
I took the feet break into song.
Yes.
Stunned for 1d4 rounds.
It's like hypercognition. Instead of like you can make 6 recall knowledges, like you can make 6 performance checks in the span of a turn.
Everybody is just a bard multi-class. Just you layer bard on top of everything.
But it has to be bard.
Yes.
You're not.
Hey, look, there's already precedent of the Strength of Thousands giving you either a druid or a wizard archetype for free. So we're just expanding on that with our bard
Everyone has to
archetype.
be bard is actually an amazing idea.
Okay.
I love it.
This is awesome. So
this is a mess to write.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how I would ever write this campaign now.
I mean, honestly, this whole episode is just going to be a mess for anyone listening.
We're so sorry.
We're all over the place.
We're glad you came with us. But so we have to score this before we go.
Oh no, we still have to rate Irrisen.
I think we have to rank it on like 1 to 5 dancing huts.
Yeah, for sure. 1 to 5 dancing huts. Thank
1
you to
to
our
5
sponsor.
corpses of daughters. No.
Ooh, no, definitely dancing huts.
Okay.
I mean, we didn't really talk a whole lot about never-ending winter, but
According to my research in Magnus, inhabitants don't have a great time here. They're like, it's a hard life.
yeah, but we're not living there. We're
That's
just visiting.
For us, do they have good ski resorts?
Probably. I mean, they have tourism
Yeah.
of some kind.
They have a glacier, so maybe
Oh.
some nice sightseeing.
Okay, so maybe some like hiking and skiing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like if I visited here, I'd be like immediately at risk. Like, this is the kind of place where like you walk around, you're like, man, I would not want to live here,
Yeah.
but it's beautiful.
Ooh, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, it's like going around Greenland or something.
Possibly,
like-
I've not been to Greenland. I've been to Iceland. Iceland was fun.
Maybe like really northern Canada.
Mm.
Not like necessarily the fun part. I imagine there's not a lot of like grass or like landscape.
Well, like
It's
the Northern Lights
just
are a
lots of
thing,
snow.
right?
That would be
so
cool.
you can see the Northern Lights up there.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I'm thinking like 3,
3, 4.
3. I mean,
I feel like
You are walking into a land where like where it's ruled by like witches. So depending on who you are, there might be some animosity
Sure.
or some discrimination.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I'd want to live there, and you certainly like would want to be really careful about not getting in
Mhm.
trouble.
yeah.
But it seems like if you like, look, I have my official,
I'm here for
Like-
trade.
I have
Yeah.
my official visa for a 1-week visit. Please don't
Okay.
arrest me.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem like the worst place in the world.
So
That's
maybe
true.
maybe 3,
Yeah, 3.5 maybe.
3.5,
Okay.
3.5 dancing huts.
3.5 dancing
3.5
huts.
dancing huts.
3 huts and some legs.
Perfect. All right. Well, 3.5 dancing huts it is.
I like it.
Thank you to everybody listening. We appreciate everyone jumping in, listening, especially we've been working a little bit harder with the new art on the YouTube side of things, and people have been commenting. So we really appreciate all of that. If you'd like to reach out to us, email tabletoptravelguidepodcast@gmail.com. You can hit our website, tabletoptravelguide.com. Our Instagram, we post pictures, videos, all kinds of stuff up there. So
Hit us up chat too. I was chatting with somebody this week, and we theory crafted some campaign ideas
Oh
talking
my
about
gosh.
shoot, what were we talking about? Where were we at?
Weren't you in Galt?
Oh yeah, we were talking about Gulp. So
Oh my God. This is going to be an even bigger problem if we start getting emails and comments of like, hey, you should do this insane thing that I thought of. And they're going to be all great ideas, but also like,
We don't have enough time to run that many campaigns.
yes, but if you want us to help you think of ideas for your campaign,
oh,
Hit us up.
we could throw around ideas. Yeah,
Yeah.
give us the pitch.
well, because that's what happened. I was chatting with the guy, and he was talking about a
Oh.
campaign, and we talked about.
Or
ideas.
if anyone ends up running any of the campaign ideas that we come up with, we really want to hear about how that goes.
That's true.
All right. So we appreciate all the support. And with that, safe travels.